Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today's video is all about Death and Wave. So these two characters are well-known, synergistic, amazing characters in this game. And I'm going to explain why their synergy is so good and give you an example of a deck that you can play utilizing both of these. So essentially, Death here is a 9-cost, 12 power. So obviously, if you're familiar with Marvel Snap, 9 energy is something you're not going to have almost ever. So how do you actually get her on the field? Well, her ability is cost 1 less for each card destroyed this game. So she will cost 1 less energy per card destroyed, whether your opponent's destroying the card, whether you're destroying the card, etc. Wave, on the other hand, is an on-reveal 3/3. Next turn, cards in both players' hands cost 4. So she will reduce Death's cost to 4, and then from there, it'll be reduced by however many cards you destroyed. So you really only have to kill 4 things to make Death free. But even less so, if you just kill 2 things, on turn 6, you can play Wave on 5, and then on turn 6, everything will cost 4, but Death will cost 2 less than that. So you'll be able to play Death and another card, while your opponent, ideally, will only be able to play 1 card. That's kind of the combo, using Death and Wave together. So how do you build a deck around that? Well, you kind of really want something good to play with Death on turn 6, but you also need a decent amount of destruction things because you do need to trigger at least a couple destroy. And if you don't see Wave, then you actually want more destroy cards because you want to be able to trigger Death consistently. So she also can be triggered by some weird effects. So this says destroyed. Well, as I go through this deck, you'll see actually Yondu, he removes the top card of the opponent's deck. But this actually counts as a destruction. So it's not, it's kind of poor wording. It says remove the top card of the opponent's deck, but that is a destroy. I'm playing Squirrel Girl to flood the board with squirrels in anticipation of killing those squirrels with Killmonger. So that will easily get multiple kills, which is great, reducing Death by a lot. Then using some other generic Death package things like Bucky Barnes with Carnage and Wolverine. So some simple cards from pools 1 and 2. That are just essentially going to be a core part of the early game. Also, Deathlock fits in that. So then the rest of this deck gets a little bit weirder. I'm using White Queen here to give me a good option from my opponent's hand to play on turn 6 with Death. So she's an interesting card, definitely not key to the deck. I'm playing Taskmaster, who's really fun with Death in general. You can essentially have Death come down and then copy that 12 power with Taskmaster. That's really fun. And then right now, Leader is pretty broken, so I'm using Leader, but he's definitely not a key portion to this deck. So really, if you have Death and Wave, I think you can play this deck at all. So really, you only need those two pull 3 cards, and you're probably set. You could easily take Leader and Taskmaster out of this deck, and then, as you see, I'm not really using any other pull 3 things. So you could, if you just have Wave and Death, you could put pretty much anything else in there at the high end. Any other 6-drop that is fun to play on that same turn as Death is good. A lot of people play Magneto in that slot just to move some things over, which is pretty fun. And then 5-drop wise, you definitely don't need Taskmaster. You could put Gamora in there instead. You put Black Panther. You could put Arrow. She's just great in general. So a lot of options for the deck in general. So I'm going to go through and play a couple games as always. Give you guys hopefully an example of how Death can be utilized. And let's jump right in. Alright, we got Wolverine, Squirrel Girl, Taskmaster, and Killmonger. Not a bad hand, especially having Killmonger and Squirrel Girl. Always love to see that in our starting hand. So we'll put Squirrel Girl down first. Follow her up with Wolverine. Oh my gosh, even more squirrels. So this game's going to be funny. Death essentially is going to be free on turn 3. I got 9 1-drops that I'm going to kill with Killmonger. So that is fun. I'll play Wolverine here. Hood comes down. So it would be nice to let that other unit come out first, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and Killmonger here. And that's fine. He's going to get a demon out that I could have killed essentially with Hood, but that's okay. I'll just put Killmonger down and get my Death out for free. That'll be nice. Alright, so Death is free, but I want to be able to play Taskmaster after the fact. So I'm going to play Death here, and then, White Queen there, and then Death next. And then Taskmaster on turn 5 will be able to copy Death, which will be a pretty good power spike at one location. So Death comes down, Storm comes down for him, getting rid of that annoying location, and the Demon comes down, so he thinks he has a pretty good power spike in that location. I'll contest that. I'll just try to dominate that location right now. I'm going to play Taskmaster right on top of it. I'm not expecting him to fully give up that location. So I'm expecting him to play a card here, but he might not. If he didn't, that'd probably be bad for me at this point. But I'm going to double down and just say, okay, I'm going to win that location, and I'll try to win one of the others after. So yeah, Taskmaster comes down. He plays Sunspot, which is not a whole lot. It's 5 power because he saved the rest of his mana. But yeah, we got 24 on the right, which is pretty great. So you see why Taskmaster's in there, and obviously this was an extreme case, but Killmonger being able to kill 10 1-drops on turn 3 was pretty absurd. So that does happen though. Sometimes the opponents are playing 1-drops as well. Sometimes you get Central Park and you get them go on a squirrel murdering spree. So let's see if we get another one. We got Carnage, Wolverine, and Bucky Barnes himself. The hub comes down. We get a random card of Nakia, which is not super interesting for us. But we don't hate this hand. Pretty much you just kind of want a couple things to destroy. At least one thing to destroy, and you want something that's going to destroy. So you want Carnage, or you want Killmonger, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put Wolverine on the left. Next turn, on turn 3, I'm going to try to play Bucky and Yondu, and then I'll follow with Carnage on turn 4, most likely. But that is not a guarantee. We'll see what we draw first. Opponent went with Sunspot. Early drop Sunspot, but he's following it up with Colleen. And he discarded Silver Surfer. Interesting. Not sure what style deck this is. So Lamentis comes out. We destroy both decks, and you draw some cards. Now, Death would have worked with that. You would have essentially had Death be something like free, essentially, because both decks got pretty much completely ravaged. So we're going to go with Bucky and Yondu on the right. Yondu won't really trigger anything, but he's discarding Leader with Swordmaster. Kind of a weird game right now so far. He's discarded Leader and Silver Surfer, so I'm not really sure what he's going for. Alright, it's turn 4. So we can Carnage here, and then probably just Taskmaster, so Carnage will eat all those, he'll be a 6 power. Wolverine comes back down at the same location. It's fine, he played a rock, I think is what I missed, which is odd. So Taskmaster is going to be a 6 power. We're going to play him on the right side. He's going to copy Carnage's power. Not as big as he could be, but not terrible. But he's got Captain Marvel, who's going to be able to move to another location. But hopefully we can show you why Leader is one of the dumbest cards in the game. I think Leader is pretty much everyone's go-to what's going to get nerfed. But we shall see by next patch. So I'm playing Leader mid. I get Magneto, he gets Magneto. I copied his Magneto. But Captain Marvel moves to the middle to help him win that location, but he loses the right. See, why does Captain Marvel do that? You know? So we won. Leader is a dumb card, so that's why he's in this. If you don't have him, though, don't worry. He's not key to the deck. Don't really understand. At the end of the game, move to a location that wins you the game, if possible. So, I mean, she moved to a location that she did win, but she didn't win the game for it. Wanted the computer just know that? I'm not sure. Anyway, that's kind of how the deck goes. So let's try to get one more. Killmonger, Bucky Barnes, and Wolverine. And Kun Lun is out on the board. Alright, well the Gamma Lab is here, so things are going to get destroyed and turn into Hulk. Well, actually they won't get destroyed, they'll just get transformed. Key difference in this deck. The Nexus is here. Some very powerful locations coming down here. So we're going to put one more card, I think, right here. We're going to save Wave for now. If we can get some destruction going on, that'd be great. But it doesn't look like we have a whole lot of options for that. He played Juggernaut, try to get a push off of something at the Nexus, but we get 2 Hulks, so we kind of secure that middle location by turn 3. Now I have to do some work to secure the rest of the game here. Might be tough. So I think I'm actually going to go with Wave here, and I'm just going to play Death naturally. So even though she won't have a reduction, she'll still be 4 power, or 4 energy, I mean. And he pops Shang-Chi down, which is great, because I'm about to put a massive card there. So on turn 4, or on turn 5, we throw Death down. I can either Taskmaster that on turn 6, or I can Leader it. So he's snapping, I'm not really sure. These 2 cards that counter that were already used. I guess he snapped just because he knows Daredevil's coming down. Hobgoblin's a good one. But we still are winning the location currently. And Taskmaster will copy Death to get 12 power. And we'll see how much power he gets from whatever he's playing on that side. But yeah, he gets 12 as well, which isn't enough. And we take the win. So that's another example of Taskmaster and Death going together. But Wave as well, kind of making it work. Even though we didn't get the combo off, they still function together, and you can play it that way if you have to. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck. It's a really strong combo. Take it out into the wild, do well, and always remember to keep on snapping, and also keep on subscribing. We're really close to 1,000. Thank you guys for the views, and we'll see you next time.